What's going on, everybody? Jolt here from TheTokenMinorities, and I am back with the Week 3 battle of the GBA Season 8, where your Kansas City Jirachiefs are squaring off against none other than pokeaimMD and his Bronx Beartics. Easily the matchup I am the most excited for so far this season. Probably will be the highlight of the season, honestly, as playing against someone who's, as well known as Joey, and really someone I've looked up to in the competitive community for such a long time. It's just a really exciting experience to get that opportunity to play him. So hopefully this goes well here for this particular matchup. Now, let's take a look at what he decided to bring here against me this week, as he has decided to bring the Aselgor, the Miltank, the Whimsicott, the Mega Gyarados, the Heracross, and the Zygarde 50. First and foremost, right away noticing no Necrozma on that team, which is really surprising. I think no Salazzle was also a little bit surprising, but especially the lack of a Necrozma I think is pretty huge this week, considering the fact that I am bringing double bulky grasses this week. I'm going to go through my team now just very briefly. If you want to see the details of the team that I am bringing for this week, make sure to check out the team builder for this week, which will be linked in the first line of the description below. But the team that I am bringing this week is Celesteela, which is a Brave Nature max attack with a Shockwave lure for the Gyarados. It also has Toxic, it has Heavy Slam because Heavy Slam is really spammable against this team, as well as Earthquake to hit the stack attack. Basically, this is my way to take advantage of him trying to switch in his Fairy into my my Hydreigon, which we'll talk about here a little bit later on. So just a really good overall defensive pivot against him, and also a good offensive tank at the same time. So good set against him. Aerodactyl is more specially defensive, so a really bulky Aerodactyl with Stealth Rock, with Toxic, with Aerial Ace, and with Earthquake. Earthquake for the stack attack and the Salazzle, and Aerial Ace helps me hit a variety of other things on his team. So it's just a really good mon against him, probably my best possible Stealth Rocker for this specific team that I'm bringing here. Then I have a Gardevoir, which is Choice Specs, allows me to really nuke and outrage locked Zygarde, as I fully expect going into this match to see a Choice Banded Zygarde, just because I think it does the best job at breaking through my defense. Then Mega Venusaur, pretty straightforward set, just Fizz Def. It has Dual Stab as well as HP Ice for the Zygarde, and then I have Synthesis for recovery. The Hydreigon is Choice Scarf with Defog and Dual Stab, including both Draco Meteor and Dragon Pulse, and the BreDOOMED is Fizz Def Bulk Up with Mach Punch, Drain Punch, and Facade. A really, really good Pokemon in this matchup because he decided to not bring the Necrozma. Shout out to the FO for the help on the team. You guys are awesome. Also a shout out to Under the Radar for recording my game for me, and to Pablo for ginning my team for me as well. And with all that out of the way, we can go ahead and talk about the lead matchups and maybe jump on into this battle. So going in through my head immediately, he did bring the Aselgor, which tells me that he is going to be most likely a Hazard Stack team, especially just looking at the overall composition of his team. I really think he's going to go for this combination of Mega Gyarados, Zygarde, and Heracross as his offensive core, and then Hazard Stack me with a Aselgor Miltank, and then just have Whimsicott as his way to pivot into the Hydreigon. That's what I'm expecting out of this team at Team Preview. That's how I expect him to play it. So how I can combat that then is by playing pretty safely with my BreDOOMED, just because BreDOOMED matches up so incredibly well against the Pokemon that he brought. His only switch-ins to BreDOOMED literally are the Heracross and the Whimsicott, and neither of which want to take a Facade, even unboosted Facade. Probably 2-hit KOs both of them, so BreDOOMED is looking incredible in this particular matchup based upon what he brought. In terms of the lead matchup, Celesteela is my best lead against a spike stacking Aselgor, because he's not going to be able to knock me out with a final Gambit, and even if he does, I don't really necessarily need the Celesteela in this match, in my opinion, based upon the other defensive threats that I have. So it's okay, in my opinion, to be able to get rid of the Aselgor immediately on a final Gambit in exchange for him not getting a spike. I will take that trade. So leading off with Celesteela is in my best interest, expecting the Aselgor. So let's go ahead and jump on into this. Good luck to my opponent, Joey, and let's see what he decides to lead with, as well as, like I've already mentioned, I'm very much so expecting that Aselgor lead. He has a couple other options he can maybe go for if he wants to pivot into Aselgor, but that's exactly what he does decide to lead with. SU Ninja is the Aselgor, and here comes in my Celesteela. So this is going to be a very free Heavy Slam on my end. I do not fear the final Gambit, like I've already said, as he just decides to set up a spike. So no harm done there. I do have the defog on the Hydreigon if I do need to get rid of these spikes later in the game for whatever reason, and being able to knock this thing down to its Focus Sash is really nice in terms of the longevity of my defensively oriented team. I didn't really want to take a final Gambit with anything else. Obviously, being able to get it down to its Sash here is really helpful to that end. So now he's going to go into his Miltank, preserving the last last 1 HP on the Selgor, probably just as a sack later in the game, as this Heavy Slam kind of bounces off the Miltank, which reveals to me this is going to be a physically defensive set here, but now expecting him to either go for maybe a body slam or more likely his own stealth rocks. I am going to go into my Aerodactyl just because he didn't really bring the Pokemon that this Aerodactyl was meant to really deal with. Specifically the Salazzle, this would have easily been my best response to Salazzle in the early game, so I really don't value this thing's health too much, essentially, is what I'm trying to say here, and this is going to allow me to get up my stealth rocks as well, which makes the Selgor basically dead. It makes it become guaranteed sack fodder, and also will allow me to wear down other members of his team a little bit more easily, especially things like the non-Mega Evolved Gyarados at this point. Another incentive for him to try to Mega Evolve that Gyarados, is that's something I'm really trying to push for in this game, so that once the Gyarados is Mega Evolved, my Breloom is able to deal with it more effectively with its fighting coverage, as opposed to having to click Facade and just deal damage without getting any health back in return. Yeah, so I'm going to get up my rocks here. I think I might have already done it at this point. As he Toxic me on that turn, I'm going to Toxic him back, because now that I know he has Toxic on this Miltank, I already know this is like 100% going to be a Stealth Rocker in this matchup, so this tells me he actually doesn't have Heal Bell on this Miltank set, because he's going to have Normal Stab and Body Slam, he's going to have Milk Drink, he's going to have Stealth Rock, and now he has Toxic instead of Heal Bell, making Toxic spam really free against the mons that he decided to bring, especially considering the fact that looking at Team Preview, I think his Scarfer is going to be the Heracross, so it's not going to be a Guts Heracross, most likely it'll be Moxie instead. So Toxic is very free at this stage in the game, and now I'm just going to pull the switch right back out into my Celesteela, because now that this thing is Toxic, it no longer walls my Celesteela, and yeah, I'm going to be able to get a really free switch in here. The worst case scenario is that he gets a Body Slam Para against me, and he, fortunately for me, does not get that. My leftovers are basically going to recover back all the health that I lost from the Body Slam, so no harm done there. A lot of hazards on the field. That's the only real downside for these early few turns for me in this game, but like I said, I do have the Scarf Dragon's Defog in the back that I can pull out if I really need to in a dire situation. So here, he's going to sack off his Selgor. I predicted that play. I was very close to making some sort of aggressive offensive play instead, but I felt it was in my best interest to leave the Celesteela in to get the leftovers recovery on his turn of sack, and if he did, for whatever reason, decide to go into something else, Heavy Slam damage off of a max attack Celesteela is easily pretty nice to have against this team, as now he's going to go into his Zygarde, and because I'm so convinced he is going to be a Choice Banded or DD Zygarde, I decided to stay in just to get a Toxic up on this Zygarde, just because the Toxic damage long term makes it so that my Breloom guaranteed beats it 1v1. The only way he's able to get rid of the Toxic is if he is Lumberry, which would be good information to have, or if he is like Rest on this Zygarde, which, fun fact, he actually ends up being, as you see here later in the game. But I do get that Toxic off, which is nice. He goes for the arrows, he grounds me, and I'm able to see this is a not attack invested Zygarde. So because this is not attack invested, I don't have to fear going into my Mega Venusaur, my un-Mega Evolved Venusaur at this stage in the game. If it was more offensive, maybe Life Orb, maybe Band, I didn't want to make the hard switch into a non-Mega Evolved Venusaur with all these hazards on the field. So that was the idea behind leaving Celesteela in on that particular turn, is now he goes for the Coil, so that's kind of the set I expected to see once I saw he was not really attack invested at all. So going into my Mega Venu here, just in case he wants to fire off an Outrage or a 1,000 arrows, I'm going to Mega Evolve here and just click Synthesis, just to make sure I'm not 2-hit KO'd by him at all. Like, there's no way he can 2-hit KO me. Basically, if I go for a Synthesis on this turn, there's really no harm done in that, because he is still Toxic Poisoned. So if he attacks me and I recover, I get health back net, and he takes damage from Toxic, putting him closer to being in range from my Hidden Power Ice. So it's just a win-win play for me in this case, as he reveals the block. So he has some heat in this matchup. I think blocking Mega Venusaur was a little bit optimistic, because using Mega Venusaur as my initial switch into Zygarde would mean that it's almost definitely going to be HP Ice to make sure I can take it down, and I'm going to reveal that HP Ice here as he reveals the Rest. So he is a mono-attacking Zygarde, probably with 1,000 arrows. So he is Rest, he is Coil, he is Block, and he is 1,000 arrows on this Zygarde. So pretty cool set. Not going to work out too well for him at this point though, since now I know what his set is, and I know that he literally cannot touch Breloom at all. So Breloom just sets up on Zygarde. I have that noted. I'm going to go for the very free Sludge Bomb, knowing that he either stays in, takes a round of sleep and the Sludge Bomb damage, or he tries to go into something on my predicted HP Ice and tries to do something that way, but I expected him to make the play, and I do go for the Sludge Bomb. I hit the Miltank as it comes in, and he just goes for a last ditch effort, body slam, and gets the paralysis on my Venusaur, which kind of sucks. It means that Venu is a little bit less free as a defensive passive mon in this game with the potential full para on deck. Just something I have to keep in mind here for the late game. As now he's going to go into his Heracross. I 110% expect this to be Choice Scarfed based upon what I saw at Team Preview, and as a result I expect him to lock into Mega Horn on this turn. Worst case scenario, locks into Knockoff. If he locks into Knockoff and Celesteela gets 2-hit KO'd somehow, which I don't think it would be, but I guess it might from this range. I guess there's a possibility it might have been 2-hit KO'd, but not from this range. But if he does go for a Knockoff, I might be able to go into like my Hydreigon, immediately revenge this and get a lot of damage off on his team. So yeah, going to my Celesteela on the Mega Horn, which is nice, and the fact that he switches out here further confirms my suspicions that he is indeed a Choice Scarf Heracross, as I'm just going to go for the free Heavy Slam because I get recovery by clicking Heavy Slam for my leftovers, and if he goes into Gyarados, I have the Shockwave on deck to body this thing if he tries to set up in my face, as I already feel like I'm in a very commanding position. Despite the fact that he has all these hazards up on my side of the field, I don't have to switch that much against his team. Quite frankly, my defense is able to stay in against almost everything that he has left in this matchup, so I'm going to reveal the Shockwave here on this turn, and you'll see that this Gyarados actually takes it, which means he is like really fat. Okay, this Gyarados has a ton of bulk investment, which, I mean, good prep on his part. I don't think he predicted Shockwave, but it works out well for him here, as he's going to make a nice play and go for the rest, as this happens to also be a rest Sleep Talk Gyarados, so that's kind of interesting. I didn't really expect him to go for the rest. I went hard into my Breloom there because I expected him to go for a Waterfall or a Crunch on that particular turn, whichever one he happened to have, just in an effort to take out the Celesteela, and I thought he would also Mega Evolve on that turn and stay at low health, meaning my Breloom would be able to get off a Mach Punch, as well as get some Poison Heal recovery on the same turn, since he would be Mega Evolved and to be pretty free to do that. But I do just go into my Breloom, and he goes for the rest. That's fine. So now he's going to Sleep Talk a Dragon Dance, which is like, alright, that's fine. The only way this thing can even remotely touch me is if he is Bounce, or if he is Ice Fang. Even so, if he is Ice Fang, I'm actually able to beat this 1v1 with my bulk up Breloom set. If he was Bounce, obviously a different story, but we never actually end up seeing, at least in these early stages of the game, what his offensive move is against me, as soon as I go for the bulk up, I'm fully expecting him to realize that I'm going to beat him 1v1 unless he has Flying Stab, so I am just going to go for the Facade. He had absolutely no switch-ins to Facade, and as you can see, this Whimsicott is now in range of a Mach Punch after one more round of Stealth Rock. This Breloom is very clearly going to be the win con at this point in the game, so I'm not going to risk the potential roll with the Mach Punch. If he had max HP investment, there was a decent chance he'd be able to survive, so I decided to preserve it as he goes for the U-turn on my incoming Celesteela, so fine play on his end, but in reality all it really is doing is putting the Whimsicott into range of Breloom later on, as soon as the Heracross decides to lock into Knockoff, I can go straight into my Breloom, I can go straight for a bulk up, and the game is over at this stage with the Zygarde asleep, with the Whimsicott in range of a +1 Mach Punch, and with the Gyarados not being able to touch my Breloom. As soon as Heracross locks into Knockoff at any point in the game, I win. So, but with that knowledge in mind, I know he's not going to click Knockoff. He knows this as well. So what he's going to do here, he's definitely going to click Close Combat. So by going hard into my Gardevoir, it forces him to basically sack another Pokemon. So yeah, so that play worked out pretty well here. Fully expected the Close Combat, and now he is forced to sack to a Specs Moonblast, as absolutely nothing on his team is able to take a Moonblast at this stage. And he decides to sack off his sleeping Zygarde, which still had 2 turns of sleep to take care of. So this was a good sack on his end. There was no way Zygarde was going to be able to do anything against me after he'd already revealed his set and was asleep. So yeah, good sack on his end, as now he's going to be able to check me with a Heracross. His options here are to go for a Mega Horn and try to prolong the game, maybe lower the score, lower the differential, or to go for the Knockoff to claim his kill and then let Breloom win. And he does decide to just go for the Knockoff, so what that means is that I'm going to be able to go straight into the Breloom, and because I know he is a Choice Scarfed Heracross, he cannot change up his moves. This is the freest bulk up of my life. I could also just go for a Facade just in case he wants to go into his Whimsicott. Either way, Facade is actually honestly more free at this stage than a it's honestly more free than a Bulk Abyss, so I think I actually do go for a Facade on this turn, just in case he wanted to go into Whimsicott, because if I go for a Bulk Up on that turn as he goes into Whimsicott, he could Encore me potentially, which would just mean I don't I'm not able to save as much differential basically on this win. So yeah, so I'm just going to go for the Facade on the incoming Gyarados, which basically just allows me to get that free bulk up. Maybe I'll be able to see what his offensive move is on this Gyarados on this turn, but he gets Dragon Dance once again, so I think he Sleep Talk rolled Dragon Dance like every single time with Gyarados, which I'm not sure if that's what he would have preferred, but regardless, yeah, we're going to go for the bulk up here, and now with the +1 defense, the Heracross has absolutely no chance to knock me out from full health. Even with a critical hit, I don't believe that the Heracross can knock out my Breloom from full health, so essentially what this means is that it is all wrapped up at this point, as the Gyarados can spam Dragon Dance all at once. All I have to do is click Facade here. If he manages to survive, which he definitely should, I still have the Mach Punch on deck, which will be able to get rid of the Gyarados, which I presume is going to Mega Evolve now, finally, as it does. So he did kind of play the Gyarados like I expected, with keeping it in its regular form. Unfortunately, the Selly was not able to entirely force it to Mega Evolve earlier on. That would have made things a little bit easier, I think, being able to get rid of its Intimidate ability and just making it so that Breloom can check it more easily. But even so, gonna flash the Mach Punch here. Down will go the Mega Gyarados. Now he knows his Whimsicott is in range of the Mach Punch, so he is forced to go into his Heracross and hope for a Super Mega Ultra Crit and try to take me out with that from the close combat. But as you can see, +1 max Fizz Def Breloom laughs at that hit. It did like, what, 60 HP of damage to me, and Facade is going to come out. It's going to knock out the Heracross. The Whimsicott is going to come in now after this to try to somehow take a hit, but you guys know it's not going to. So the Whimsicott's going to go down as well to the Mach Punch. He couldn't even Encore me there. He'd be just Encoring me into a Facade, and it would go down still. So that was checkmate. So we are going to be able to pick up a huge win. This was a divisional game. I don't think I ever even mentioned that in the earlier commentary or in the team builder. This was a divisional game, and this is a huge win in division. Huge. Pokeaim is probably like the strongest overall battler that is in my division, and being able to win that game, especially in pretty decisive manner, this time, that's really huge in terms of getting that edge in the division, trying to get off to a good start. So of course, good game to Joey. I think that we talked about the game a little bit after the fact, and I'm sure you're going to see this in his video as well. The Zygardes have had the potential to open up the game for him a little bit. Just a little bit at all, just a little bit better, basically, early in the game, if he had decided to block my my Celesteela, as Celesteela did not have any way to really touch the set that he brought. So that would have been his opportunity to try to find some sort of opening in the defense that I brought here in this game, but he just went for 1,000 arrows first, and that was the only opportunity I really gave him with my Celesteela to even give him a chance to get some sort of advantage here early in the game. But all in all, I really think that the prep came through in this match. I'm really excited about that. I think the team worked out pretty much perfectly. Based on what he brought, I think it matched up even better than expected, which, you know, that's always a plus. But yeah, once again, great game to Joey, and really excited for the rematch as well, as I'm sure he's going to make some nice corrections to his team, give it a lot closer of a game, basically, or maybe I'll just get stomped next time. We'll see, but I don't know. I'm going to, you know, obviously try to make sure that doesn't happen. But yeah, so we're going to advance to a 3-0 record, 2-0 in the division. I believe our differential right now is +11, so that puts us first place in the division and probably like second place in the whole conference. So that's pretty good. We're only behind MV in the conference right now, I believe, but not by too much, only by a couple differential points. So yeah, still a pretty close conference race, but obviously the most important thing in the GBA is to win the division so that you can guaranteed make it to playoffs. So that's going to be the goal here for this season, definitely. So that about wraps this up. I hope you guys did enjoy. Next week we have a game against MV, so we have a chance to potentially come out on top in the entire conference after next week through 4 weeks of the season. So hopefully we can pull that off. Obviously MV is one of the elite in the GBA, so nothing comes easy against MV, as you all know, I'm sure. But we're going to do our best, see if we can bring some heat and maybe throw them off and knock them off. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to check out AIM's side of the video. I know you're going to anyway. But yeah, I think we are done here. So I will see you guys next time.